Hello, everyone. Blue Star Saber here with Mangareader once again to discuss another My Hero Academia chapter 343. Let's see, Let You Down, or I like to call it the final war begins.
Oh yeah, 443. Yes, it is me, Mangareader.
Yeah. Join us once again. Granted, I was hoping Lucky Chi could join us, but something busy ended up happening. So, better now than ever, I guess.
Better now, indeed.
So, yeah. And
Okay.
probably also won't be hearing from him for next week, but, oh well, that's that. But, oh well. But either way, on to the actual chapter. We begin with like a sort of flashback from what I can tell, well, at least flashback as like the black panels and all that stuff. Where all for one is thinking about how lies cannot work on him due to the fact that he's able to tell, due to some quirk, he's able to tell when someone is slightly lying to him and all that stuff. Though granted, he cannot recall the name of the quirk or something. Let's see. Because apparently it works with even the slightest malicious intent. He will be able to tell that he lies and all that stuff. And apparently, though granted, he can't seem to recall what the name of that quirk was, because I guess it's like he steals so many quirks. Not going to remember them all. So, apparently came to him during an earlier period of like, let's see, during like the early years of his years of villainy, if you will.
Early
He
years of
managed to
villainy.
find other quirks to boost its efficiency. So it's one of those more simple quirks from the beginning that got powerful over time due to the quirk mergings and all that stuff. Let's see. Now he says that the original was this some sort of like dull person or something, I don't know. But his descendants ended up doing much better, and apparently this descendant ended up working with All Might to threaten him. So I wonder if this is implying, like All Might's detective buddy or something, or maybe something else. Or maybe something that's being referenced in My Hero Academia Vigilantes, because I understand the detective has a sibling in that manga series.
Uh, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I really gotta stop reading. I really gotta stop reading My Hero Academia Vigilantes. But yeah. But anyway, let's see. But he goes on about how this very moment, this quirk is now bring him victory, as he ends up receiving a message about how there's nothing new on their end. As he thinks about how there's no greater joy than than his plans being laid to fruition.
Fruition, yeah.
With like someone offering like a fine drink that's a 40-year McCallican. Let's see. That's what All for One is asking and all that stuff.
Fine wine,
Yeah.
man.
Though the person that he's talking to says, "How about one age 16 years?"
Oops.
Is that your phone?
Yeah, it's my phone. Sorry.
You got a phone call you need to do?
No, it's not a phone call. It's just my notifications.
Ah, okay, fair enough. And they offer their son to deliver to him. With all, let's see, with All for One agreeing with it and asking for his like contacts and that stuff. With then it's revealed, of course, being Ayama's parents, referring to All for One as uncle. Saying it's necessity in modern times. Now, from my understanding, in Japan, people refer to others as uncles if they're like regarded as close to the family or something, or an associate or friend or something, not necessarily an actual uncle. At least I saw somewhere on social media. Sorry, go on.
Oh no, I mean that sounds pretty much right. I didn't say anything.
Okay, sorry. Let's see. Oh, for one, detecting no lies or no ill wills from like Tiaramo's mother, saying that thinking how they can let them go about their business even if he has to interrogate them later and all that stuff. Let's see, as he's thinking about how many times he's engaged with ridiculous coded conversations with them. As the mother says tomorrow then, and for one agrees to those terms. let's see, as like we get sort of like dark silhouette with two lights, which I think then moves to like a let's see, sort of like building close to like the Troy building from like last chapter. As let's see, Midoriya ends up meeting Oyama in an abandoned car park area. With Midoriya looking shocked that Oyama's out here, with like him asking why he's here and all that stuff. With Midoriya reasonably asking, weren't you detained? Though he says, like, Oyama responds about how his parents got him a lawyer and all that stuff. And it's just as Midoriya saying, we got to tell everyone about this and all that stuff. Though Oyama wants to speak to Midoriya, though he does comment how it's funny how that there's still a legal system in Japan, given the chaos it's in. Let's see, as he comments about how it is now, the old ways of living really get you anywhere. With then, Oyama then telling Midoriya what All for One's plan is once he's confused about it. Apparently, with him feeling that, given the state of Japan, how's the rest of the world reacting, all that stuff? Let's see, with the sudden crash of the value of yen, forced Japanese corporations into bankruptcy. And let's see, and the coordinated uprisings of villains caused the damage to spread worldwide. And apparently now the world faces a crisis much like the Great Depression or the period when, quirks first appeared and all that stuff. Record of unemployment loss and faith in currencies, an era of total chaos, if you will. With Midoriya confused what he's talking about. Let's see, as nations who abandoned Japan prioritize their own stability and lacking the strength to implement long-term policies, Japan's society will dissolve into one scrambling of short-term safety. And in such a world, which will lack like the resources such as water and other sort of foods. Imagine if there was someone capable of a quirk producing water suddenly it appears, or like other sources of resources such as electricity or gas, or even strength. Let's see, as the world, plunges into this decline, desperate to have anything like that, for an individual to take the initiative, and reveals that this person would become the world's arbiter, its very own demon lord, if you will. And that he has only had to rock the balance, only had to rock the balance somewhere and all that stuff. But Midoriya thinks that the world will never go along with something like that, as the world still has their heroes and all that stuff. With Oyama agreeing and saying that's why it's all got to end here and that stuff, as he apologizes to Midoriya as he has to protect his own parents. And we see flying down is All for One, with a new sort of like a breath mask thing and suit, if you will. With All for One praising Yugo Oyama for bringing Midoriya to him and all that stuff. As he comments about how it must have been hard for him to, turn on his friends like this. He would put his faith in him, but he overcame that fear and pain of doing so and has done so. As Midoriya gets into a stance ready to battle. As he comments about that speech about his own goal, he said about his own ultimate goals. He would praise him for that, though he does think that some of the details are a bit needing some work. So wrong in some of the details, and probably it's because his parents didn't properly explain everything. As Oyama confirms that yes, he got it from his parents about this wonderful world they get to exist in. With Midoriya going I believed in you, damn it! Though Oyama says that his pain cannot be measured or anything. But by that singular word, uncle, as Oyama flips around using his naval attack to try and hit All for One, but All for One is able to block it, dodge it, or maybe even block it to an extent with his abilities. With him now furious with Oyama. With Midoriya just complimenting Oyama's performance, with him saying that he really had no choice, otherwise they cannot lure him here. with Ayama praising Midoriya's own acting. With Midoriya saying he can help it with like Ayama's tears starting to flow, though he says he is truly scared, and I think he might have even wet himself. Well, to be fair, All for One is scary. I think most people would probably be shaking in their boots if they were, fighting some all-powerful deity, if you will, or
Right.
or let's see, all-powerful super being, really. As Oyama says that he's doing this all for his parents and his friends and himself, he shall fight all for one. Well, let's see. All for one talks about how disappointing this is outside. He's thinking about what's going on as he couldn't, he detected no lie and he's wondering what just happened. Neither from Oyama or his parents, so he's wondering what just happened, what wrong with Kirk. But anyway, realizing that he's been put into a trap, it doesn't really matter to him as like all for one. I mean, one for all is here. So he takes off his blazer jacket. Preparing to fight as he ends up activating like that teleportation black gunk quirk, if you will. Given the fact that the search quirk, he's confirmed he still has the search quirk. He's able to tell that no one is in nearby, no one is nearby where they are right now. As the search quirk, once activated, can detect anyone, regardless of he's able to be familiar with them, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And believing that they're not anywhere around here. There's no way they can reach Midoriya in time to assist them. As he ends up talking about how they didn't notice how his Ritzy people were drawing near, and when the time they arrive, it'll be entirely too late, as we get a double-page spread of like the teleportation quirk he has with multiple villains appearing out, including some of the high-end Nomu, Tomura Shigaraki, Darby, Toga. I think some of the followers of Spinner, if you will, and a few others. But yeah. But you're pretty much, it's like reverse Endgame with all the villains coming out of the portal, if you will. Although just as like the villains are appearing, Ariyama ends up telling, as Ariyama tells All for One that his parents also told him something else, as we see a sort of black teleportation portal coming from behind him, that what All for One fears the most in this world is that he fears the world laying at Japan isn't finished yet, and the fear of light and hope that will come, and the fear and the light of and the hope that will come with that, with recovery and all that stuff. As All for One ends up noticing that this is apparently Kurogiri's quirk activating. Though he's wondering, is this like Kurogiri coming with reinforcements or something? But then we see Copycat. I'm trying to remember his name. The kid from Class 1B. Momoyama is in it or something? Class 1B. Hold on. Let's see. And just Momonoa. Yeah, I think it's. Let's see. Naruto, Nieto Momonoa, the one that just really hates Class 1A so much.
Right.
Let's see, we see his silhouette in the shadows and saying, as Oyama finishes his speech about how, and you fear Japan inspiring the world to unite once more. So today is the day that this place is where he falls, as out of the teleportation comes all of the pro heroes that still remain, such as Endeavor, the bunny girl, the killer whale hero, Araki or something, Edge Shot, I think the number 13 hero, Washer, and Sun Eater, and I'm trying to remember the girl from like the Big Three, and Fat Gum. You know who I'm referring to, though.
Everyone knows.
Yeah. pretty much a lot of pro heroes coming out ready to fight. It's similar to matter of Endgame style, which I wouldn't be surprised if Koei was inspired for the scene with Endgame, ending the chapter in the cliffhanger as the final war begins.
Yep.
So, Mangareader, what did you thought of the chapter?
Well, it's a lot more exciting. You're finally picking back up now.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like after like the sort of like pre-war build-up arc, which I assume, which like with the spy, the stuff with like Aoyama being the spy, and we can all be heroes, and everyone preparing for like the next fight. It seems that that arc has ended, and now we appear to be on this new arc with like the final battle or final war, if you will. Granted, I'm not sure what type of war we've got just yet, but there'll probably be more discussion a bit later. But it seems like now we're ready for the final, the final fight, if you will, at the very least.
Finally, yep.
So it looks like those suggestions that the manga could possibly end this year or next year seem to ring true for My Hero Academia.
Possibly.
But anyway, it's interesting that All for One appears to have the ability to detect that as a quirk that allows him to lie. I mean, it allows him to detect if someone's lying or having miraculous intent against him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that it's one of the earlier quirks that he stole, and it's he got stronger over time. And apparently, of course, like I said, apparently was like it's the ancestor of someone that would become an ally to All Might. From my understanding, it might be like the police detective, because apparently he has a sister with a similar ability to like lie detecting or something from vigilantes.
Ah.
No, at least from what I saw some people talking on Twitter, and then I ended up searching on the My Hero Academia wiki. And I've really got to start reading vigilantes. So that's a bit of world building and all that stuff there.
It's supposed to be a prequel, after all.
Yeah. Let's see. Though I think, despite Lucky Cheese insistences, I don't think the vigilante main characters, are going to appear in the main manga series.
Possibly not at this point.
No, that's they might get a surprising cameo or something.
That's just so weird, because I mean, his obviously the characters in the main story appear, at least obviously not the main heroes, but people from this story have appeared.
Yeah, mostly the pro heroes and teachers.
And yeah, I mean, I think Ida's brother appeared in that manga,
and a few villains, I believe, have appeared as well.
I think Izuku's mom was at least shown in like the first panel of the first cover of the first page or something like that.
Some sort of cameo, I take it.
Yeah.
Fair enough, but yeah. But anyway, I do like how All for One has that sort of like coded message with like Aoyama's parents. It's like, fine wine, 40 years, and it's like, no, 16. It's like, since that's technically Midoriya's age. So it's like, okay, it's like they're bringing Midoriya. They're going to have Aoyama bring Midoriya and all that stuff. So let's see. So that was interesting. But yeah. But I can see how But due to this quirk, you can see how All for One is just so confident in his like plans and all that stuff with this light detecting ability. But anyway, I found it interesting that the final battle is taking place near the Troy headquarters thing. So I'm assuming that means that place is going to have some sort of, well, it should have a role in this battle because you just introduced it last chapter. So I assume that it's some sort of like headquarters, maybe. Maybe it's where All Might is, but
I mean, Troy was the facility, and now it's broken up into like a prison, so to speak, and
that's it. That might be stuff from the unofficial release of this chapter, so probably best not to go into that too detail for spoilers. But anyway.
Oh yeah, whoops.
Yeah, sorry. But anyway, I do find it interesting that they decide to go with like an abandoned car park area. But I have to, I do like how,
Parking lot, yeah.
yeah, see, with like, but given the fact that we know that these two
Civil
are,
War.
yeah, though granted that was more of an airport.
It was, but there was a car lot there, so.
Yeah, but fair point. Let's see. Koei loves his let's see, Marvel references, and
Yep.
particularly MCU ones for this chapter.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, I do like how Midori and Aoyama were quite good in just like the performance they gave, and like let's see, both pretending to like let's see, be genuinely surprised or like not out of full or for one and all that stuff, whereas Midoriya's trying to like ask him what he's doing here and all that stuff, and due to this conversation, we finally get a bit of an idea of what we actually get an idea, or what at least just generally what the All for One's main goal is and all that stuff, is to have Japan become completely destabilized with like its economy crashing, the businesses going out and all that stuff. Let's see, have it affect the global markets and where the rest of the world will start being like every man for themselves, as we kind of seen with like let's see, with them not sending heroes and all that stuff, as villains were sort of causing uprising, as it were, causing further stock market crashes and all other sort of things. Also damaging resources, so that a man with the abilities that can give any of these resources, such as water, food, and gas and electricity, the world will bow down to his rims and all that stuff, as the world enters into an era similar to the Great Depression, or when Quirks, or in the My Hero universe, Quirks society, let's see, Quirks first manifested, causing a sort of let's see, a state of crisis for like let's see, society as what is considered human now and all that stuff. Let's see, All for One becomes like the Demon Lord. Though I have to be honest, I am not entirely sure if something like that would happen in real life if Japan collapses. But I guess since My Hero Academia is a manga by a Japanese manga artist, he does have to make Japan the center of the attention of the world, if you will.
Yeah, the small island off the coast of the eastern continent of. Yeah, I don't know how realistic that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that more of like maybe say countries like America, let's see, Europe as a whole, or the EU, or let's see, places like let's see, China, maybe Russia. Countries that have like superpowers or like let's see, close to superpower military and all, let's see, economic abilities and all that stuff.
Right.
Let's see, if I could see their economies crashing, I could see something like that happening. Let's see, causing a burn, but I'm not really entirely sure if Japan would do it, though. Then again, I'm not an expert on the economy, to be honest, so I couldn't really tell. But it is interesting to think. But I guess you could argue it would start. With the fall of Japan, it'll start a chain reaction or fears of a chain reaction. In many ways, the Great Depression did cause the world to go into a bit of chaos. Heck, it arguably is what led to the rise of 20th century fascism, and then which led to World War II, if you will.
Right. Yeah.
And in many ways, you could argue that's what let's see, All for One is sort of doing. It's like causing the world so much stability that only he can, let's see, with his abilities, only he can offer it. Let's see, and that'll make people desperate enough to get into his demands because, well, let's see, we see how the world fights for these kind of resources, or people starting to get worried about certain resources such as water. Since, well, we need water to live.
Right.
But yeah. Of course, Midoriya says as long as heroes are. I do like. Let's see. I do like how Midoriya says as long as the heroes are around, that will never happen. Which is let's see. Which Ariyama reveals that. Let's see why All for One is so determined to get rid of Midoriya. So like he's the last witsy the last power in the world that can get in the way of his plans, if you will.
Yeah.
So and he arrives. But anyway, what do you think of All for One's new mask?
Is it new? It doesn't look all that different from his first one.
I know. I think it looks new. Let me just take a. Let me just take a closer.
Maybe the old one had a skullish shape to it compared to this one, but I'm pretty sure it's relatively the same.
Let's see. Well, I'd definitely say the black suit is probably the same. Though I think no, I'm not sure about that. Though from what I can tell, his fancy shirt and stuff is different from the last one. As I think it was just a casual white smart one. Now he's got like a more, I guess you could say, gentlemanly let's see, gentleman let's see, mini jacket underneath, vest underneath, if you will. But yeah, from what I can tell, the previous one was a bit more of a skull-like, and it was more of tubes around the neck kind of thing. This one is a bit more, I suppose you could say,
circular.
Yeah, circular and all that stuff. So that's with that bit. So I do kind of like this new look and all that stuff.
Right.
In many ways, let's see. I always go on about how during a war arc, let's see, characters always change their uniforms, and I guess you could say this is technically what changed for All for One, if you will. I mean, technically, Midoriya has got his UA thing for this arc, so UA gym thing. In many ways, closing full circle from the first time he fought the League of Villains.
Right.
But yeah, but I do kind of like how it seems like, let's see, All for One confirms Aoyama's plans a bit, though. Let's see about his about his plans and stuff. Though, granted, admit that there might be a few details that he got a bit wrong, but nevertheless, we got an idea of what the plan is, and all that stuff. And I do like how he seems to praise him and all that stuff. And I do like how Midoriya's like, "I trusted you," but only for Then we have Aoyama actually reveal that he's actually turning against All for One as he tries to attack him. Which I must admit, I do like how All for One seems to be slightly annoyed at this betrayal and all that stuff. I do kind of like how the conversation with Midoriya about and Aoyama for how they're complimenting their acting, though Aoyama admitting that. I think I might have just wet myself a little bit. I know.
Oh, damn.
Well, let's see, like I said earlier, not I can blame him.
Right.
I mean, I remember how, let's see, in Naruto, Sakura was a bit shaken when, let's see, she was encountering, God Madara and all that stuff, Ten Tails Madara. And then, of course, Kaguya, because, they were godlike beings at that point. So there's that. But yeah, I do like how Aoyama says that in order to save his parents and, of course, to get his friends, he will fight All for One. Though All for One is a bit confused about how his quirk was not be able to detect let's see how to detect them lying and all that stuff, in which we'll find out in the next chapter, of course. But we'll not get to the narration, but yeah.
Right.
But let's see, of course, All for One is still going to try and take this opportunity regardless of the trap, because he thinks it's just those two here. So one thing I do find interesting is how he takes off his blazer jacket, if you will, to show that he means business this time. Because, when he was fighting All for One, he kept it on last time, and as a result, it got kind of a bit torn and damaged as he was starting to multiply his, quirks and all that stuff.
I mean business this time, sucker.
But it's this time it's okay, I know I'm going to get down and dirty in the fight, so I'm going to take my smart jacket off. But yeah, but I do like how, like I mentioned earlier, you got 2 panels of endgame teleportations of so many characters that coming out with the villains and the heroes.
Yep.
So I have to admit, I think that's definitely my favorite panel. It's just got like a good contrast, of, like villains on the left and heroes on the right, if you will.
Yep.
Let's see. It's just, but anyway, it's kind of interesting that let's see with some of the villains that I don't see Spinner or I believe Skeptic. I believe though Shigaraki, Dabi, and Toga are there as well as a few of some Meta Liberation ones. Though there is one in the background that might look like Spinner. I can tell, but I can't really tell, and also a few of the Nomu. But yeah, so. Clearly, All for One is bringing Etsy all his forces with him. While with the heroes, of course, we just mostly got the pro heroes and the third year heroes who have probably now graduated.
Huh.
So, Etsy. So, I suppose many people are wondering, okay, where's like the students of 1A? But you know, let's see. Because like they're supposed to join in the fight, but of course, let's see. That must be spoilers for next chapter, but yeah. But anyway, let's see. But yeah, like I said earlier, it's quite a good way to start like a war, if you will. Both sides confronting each other.
Both sides, indeed.
So yeah, so I'm just kind of the only thing I'm just kind of curious now is like so this is clearly the beginning of like the final arc, if you will, if you ask me, or the final battle kind of thing or thing. But I'm just wondering, what type of war you think this one's going to be?
I don't know. I think we've been discussing it. I think it's just going to switch off into fractions, and because again, that's what their discussion was. They have to basically cut off everyone from everyone else.
So more like a full-scale war, if you will, like where multiple battles are happening at different times rather than just one big battle.
I don't know about different times at this point, because it looks like everything's going to happen at once, but they're just going to show it as if.
Well, yeah, actually, I kind of meant multiple battles happening at the same time, kind of thing. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
Because it's clear that My Hero Academia is not going to have like a conflict that goes on for days or weeks or months or anything. It's going to happen all at one time.
Yep.
Because due to the nature of its storytelling, but
yeah.
It's at the very least, it looks like it's going to be multiple mini battles across the thing. So I'm curious to how to witty scale that as, but who knows?
Yep.
So anyway, so now that this war is finally here, how long do you think it's going to last?
What, we're on 343 right now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Could take forever. I mean, what? Wouldn't be the first time a final arc took like 100 chapters. I doubt that, but I could see it going up to at least maybe 500 chapters.
Let's see.
And I'm not saying that as in like there's 500 chapters coming. I mean, that's when I think that manga might end, is at 500 chapters.
Fair enough.
So it'd be like 100. Well, it'd be like 100-ish chapters.
Well, if it goes up to 500 chapters, that would be about.
No, considering now we're technically at 144, not officially yet, but soon to be. It would be, you'd have to add 1, which would be 45, and you add 5 to that, which is 50, so then that's 6, so then that'd be 156 chapters.
Yeah. Now, granted, let's see. No, let's see. Naruto. Let's see. Oh yeah, actually, Naruto. Let's see. Now, granted, that would probably be if it was that long. It'd still be shorter than Naruto's war, because I think that ended up being about.
I don't know how they would pad that, but you know,
yeah,
these manga people know how to do it. So
yeah. Now, granted, as we know, Koei tends to be much quicker paced than
literally everyone else.
Let's see. Then Kishimoto was.
Right.
Let's see. But anyway, I'm just trying to get the story arcs for like My Hero Academia up, because from what I can tell, the Power Liberation War arc was about 54 chapters, so at the very least, I can see it. Let's see this arc lasting just as long, maybe slightly longer. So,
Yeah, it could.
so let's see. No, Grant, I think Koei said he wants to either end it this year or next year. So it'll likely be that, though. I wouldn't be surprised if it stretches into 2024 just for like the 10-year anniversary of My Hero Academia.
Just stretches out anyway.
Which will, funny enough, also be the 10-year anniversary when Naruto ended.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, granted, chapter 343 is being regarded in the same arc as the current arc with like the paranormal, like with the traitor revealed and all that stuff. But who knows? Let's see. So let's see. So it might just be still the same sort of like arc from before, though. Now, granted, for all we know, it could also do something like Demon Slayer, which like it's a final arc but split into two sort of like mini arcs, if you will.
2 mini arcs.
Let's see. Have you read Demon Slayer?
No, I haven't.
Okay, well, pretty much. I suppose not. I should probably not spoil it, but let's just say, first half was like dealing with all like I suppose you say the henchmen and grunts, and then next arc was like the final boss, if you will. I won't go too much details other than that, but yeah.
Huh.
But yeah. So anything else you want to predict or something?
Predict for this? I don't know. I think, like I said, I think in terms of, well, we already know Shoto and Endeavor probably are going to be fighting Dabi.
Mm-hmm.
It has to definitely be Uraraka and probably Froppy and whatever her name is fighting Toga.
Uh-huh.
Or other people too, possibly, because Toga probably, well, now Toga has twice his ability.
Yeah. It's a so clever way of bringing Twice back, but without, let's see, resurrecting him, if you will.
Right. And then there's
Spinner and Shigaraki.
Spinner. I don't know. I guess against Spinner, all the lame people can, like all the fodder guys that we don't really care about, can fight in that battle.
Fair enough. I mean,
and then,
with
the original All for One, I'd say probably Bakugo might take him on. I still think that. Otherwise, it could be All Might somehow. I don't know how, but
I do know that All Might said he wants to take part in the fight somehow, but we'll have to wait and see.
So then it would be
yeah. And I'm still curious to see what role Stain will play in this arc.
Yeah, Stain's still a wild card.
Yeah.
I don't think he's out of it just yet.
After he had that conversation with like All Might and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, anything else you want to bring your thoughts to in this chapter? If there's anything I've missed out or we've discussed and all that stuff, or
I don't really think we missed anything.
Okay, fair enough.
Unless you think you missed something.
No, I think we've pretty much just covered just about everything. Maybe even stretched out a few things in this discussion, but
stretched it out further than normal.
Well, granted, we're on our average 30 to 40 minutes chapter review discussion.
It is pretty true.
Let's see. So, yeah. So, overall, I suppose I'll give this chapter a 9 out of 10.
It's a good score.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a pretty good setup chapter with like Midoriya and Aoyama talking. Let's see, we learn what All for One's plans are, which I think let's see causing like the world economy to collapse so he can become like the man with like all the resources to take over it, to become the demon lord, if you will.
That's every bad guy's ambitions.
Yeah. Let's see, cause the world to so much chaos that the world willingly submits to him. And then, of course, like, Aoyama standing up to All for One.
Yep.
And, like, you know, the end game portals for both heroes and villains starting the final battle.
Yeah.
No,
Let's
granted,
pour in.
sorry, what?
Said let's pour in.
Yeah. But yeah, but if not, and like you said, maybe like a few Marvel references with like both the car park and the portals.
Yep.
See, the only thing we have to wait and see now is whether or not All for One will have Aoyama explode like Lady Naga.
Well, every manga chapter has told us that can't happen. So
Yeah. But yeah.
I feel like it would have happened already.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think let's see after this, not gonna happen.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting if Aoyama ends up playing a role and fighting, let's see, All for One a bit indirectly, but yeah. But anyway, I've rambled on learning enough. Thank you, Mangareader, for joining me in this discussion, and I look forward to Wednesday for discussing with you in the next My Hero chapter, which, once it's been released on Sunday, we'll try and find a day to discuss it and all that stuff, since Lucky Chi won't be able to join us till next week.
Oh, goody.
Who knows? Maybe I could try and get someone else to join us, possibly, but
Probably not.
But yeah. Anyway, I'm Blue Star Saber.
Mangareader.
And we are signing off. Plus Ultra, everyone.
Plus Ultra, guys.
And we're done.